Alright, so this is ElevenLabs, a very popular tool that people use to turn text into audio or voice, and I can see why the quality is quite decent, but you don't have to pay for some expensive subscription because you actually have an alternative that you can run on your computer, and the name of the tool is Voicebox. Now let me give you some examples, and then later I'll show you how you can master this program and how you can make the audio from this tool to be as human as possible, as realistic as possible. Now again, let me give you some examples.
Run! Don't look back. Don't stop. Just run as fast as you possibly can.
Okay, so that was a sort of panic emotion.
I told you twice not to touch that, and you did it anyway. Why won't you listen?
Yeah, by the way, that was supposed to be an angry emotion, but this is actually a character with Chinese accent. That's why it sounded Chinese even though the text was English. And then let's try this one.
No way. Are you serious? That's the most incredible thing I've ever heard.
Alright, so I would say the quality is very good. It is on par with the quality of the audio that was produced by ElevenLabs. But the best part about Voicebox is that this is local, and by the way, you don't have to use the most powerful computer to be able to use the AI models in this tool, because there are plenty of models and some can even be operated using a low power device without a GPU, and I'll talk about that later. But let me show you how you can get this program, and I'm going to give you some walkthrough on how you can use it. So to get Voicebox, you can open Google and search for Voicebox. They actually have a GitHub page. So this is the official page, and then this is the a GitHub page of the program. So in case you want to contribute or you might want to check the code, then this is the GitHub page that you can visit. Now, this program is still in the very early stage, so it's not going to be perfect and you might encounter some problems, but if everything goes smoothly, then you can use this as a good replacement for ElevenLabs. Now you can navigate to the download page and then you can select the file based on your system. Now I don't have to do this because I already have that program on my computer, and then you can install Voicebox normally on your computer. And by the way, if you're using Windows and Mac, I think you probably need to sort of provide or allow permission for the tool to actually be installed, because this is actually very common in many open source projects that the publishers are not verified, they don't have any certificate, etc. But that's just the nature of open source projects. So you might want to allow the program to be installed normally. So that's just one heads up before installing the program. Now, after that, you can install Voicebox normally on your computer, and then you can launch the program. So initially, it's not going to look like this. I think it's going to be very clean. And let me give you some, I'll get these to see some menus that are available on this job. So this is the main screen. This is where you can generate or turn text into audio, and there are some settings like you can select the language, the models, the effects, and you can see the history on the right side of the screen. And also you can choose the voice that you want to use, or maybe you can even use your own clone voice, and we will use that later. Now here we got another menu called stories. So this is more like when you want to create a long form audio content that might contain several paragraphs or several sentences together, and then you can combine them into a single audio. So this is more like a project feature, and I think this is just a more advanced version of this main menu, and I think the way to use it is more or less the same. And right here you can see all the voices that are available on Voicebox, at least the ones that I have added into this app. And of course you can add your own voice, you can select different voices from different AI models. Those are going to be possible, and I will do a quick demo later. And right here we can see that there are some effects like robotic, radio, echo chamber, and deep voice, and you can even build your own preset. So this is like using a sort of equalizer, and then we can apply that effect into the audio that was created. Now, I'm not going to use this because from my experience, they don't sound good at all. But if you want to add some perhaps robotic effect to your audio, go for it. That's an option that is available. And then right here, we got audio channels. Now, I'm kind of confused. Why do we have a dedicated page for this setting, even though this is not something that I think people will use very often? I mean, this is just where you can select the hardware like the speakers and the microphones, but that's usually something that people will just use the default devices. So I'm kind of wondering, but perhaps maybe they do have a plan to make this to be a more professional studio grade program perhaps in the future. Anyway, right here we can see all the models that are available for Voicebox. We got Qwen, we got Lux TTS, Chatterbox, Tada, Kokoro, and also we got a transcription model, which is in this case only the Whisper models from OpenAI. Now, the transcription is, at least right now, will only be used when you are trying to clone an audio, like when you say something in your recording and then you want to know the text, then the transcription model will be used, and those models can be accessed via this menu. Now, let's just move on to the settings page. You can see that this is the general setting, and I think this is a bit more advanced. There's also the generation. This is a sort of settings that you can apply globally to all models in this tool. And honestly, I'm not a big fan of this because we are basically using a blanket setting for all models, even though each model might have their own setting and quirks. So unfortunately, we don't have the option to manually select the setting for each model, but at least, hey, we got this option to apply certain settings to the models in the tool. And then for GPU, if you do have a GPU like NVIDIA or AMD, I think you can download the software that will utilize the capability of the GPU to run the AI model. But if you don't have a GPU, that's totally fine. You can use your CPU. And here you can see the logs. Okay, this is again a bit more advanced. Change log, you can see the new updates, and you can see the about page right here. And since it is open source, you can contribute on GitHub. You can also maybe donate to contribute to the project. Now, let's start generating some audio using Voicebox. So, this is something that I'm not a big fan of because the UI is, I would say, very complicated, and that's because we got many different models. So let's say I'm going to create my own, I'm going to clone my own voice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this create voice button. Okay, as you can see that my microphone is actually picking up my voice. Now, there are two options where you can clone or create voice. So you can clone from your own audio, which is basically providing the recording, and then let AI to clone your voice. Or you can use built-in voice, which is the voices that are available in some models. At the moment, when I'm recording this video, we got only two models that do provide their own built-in voices, which is Kokoro and then Qwen custom voice. So Kokoro is a smaller model, Qwen is a lot bigger, but the quality is usually much more realistic, more natural, and here are some options that you can try. Now, I'm kind of disappointed that there aren't many English audio. Now, you can still use a Chinese or Japanese voice to speak something in a different language, but usually the accent will be quite noticeable. Now, here I'll just use my I'll just try to clone my own voice, and I'm going to do some recording. Okay, let me just read something. I kept waiting for things to get better, but some days it just feels like they never will. Actually, that's really sad. Okay, so I'm going to just put the transcription right here, and you can use the transcribe button to use the whisper model to transcribe the speech into text, and if you click this button, then the whisper model will be downloaded automatically. By the way, let me just listen to my voice first. I kept waiting for things to get better, but some days it just feels like they never will. Okay, so that is my voice without any filters whatsoever, and yeah, it doesn't sound good. But anyway, I'm going to use this. Let's call this one my voice number 2, and this is just another clone of my voice. The language is English and I don't have any particular voice preference, and yeah, these are actually some models that are able to use your clone voice. Now in this case, I'll just click create profile. Oh, by the way, you can select your profile picture if you want to, but that is optional. Click create profile, and after that we should be able to use that voice to generate audio. And the same is true if you select the built-in voice, then that voice will be available in this page, in this list. Now you might have noticed that some names like Eric, Jessica, Serena, Aiden, and Ryan, they're not available, like they are gray out, even though they should be available, right? That's because it depends on the model that you are planning to use. So at the moment, I'm using Qwen 3, and Qwen 3 is one among many models that do support using your own clone voice. But if I select to something like maybe Kokoro, as you can see, I cannot use my voice anymore, but I can use this one because this voice called Jessica is a built-in voice from Kokoro. And if I select maybe a Qwen custom voice, now I cannot use Jessica, I cannot use my voice, but these other options are available because these are from the built-in voice from the Qwen custom voice model. So that's one nuance that you need to know when you're using this. Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but usually you will get it very, very soon. Now, let me try my voice, and I'm going to read this. It's going to be read in anger. And I'm going to just copy and paste the script. And for the model, I'll use Qwen 3TTS. Okay. All right. And well, for the language, it's going to be English. The model is Qwen. Now I can use a different model, and I will try that later, but I'm not going to use any effects. Let me just send a message, and the model will be loaded into my GPU, and just wait until it is finished creating the audio. This might take quite a while, especially if you don't have a big GPU or powerful GPU, but at least for me, this is actually not bad, and usually it's very slow only at the beginning. Okay, so let me just give you the preview of the result.
I told you exactly what needed to happen, and you just ignored every single word I said.
Okay, that's not the best, but it is also not bad. And also I tried again using something that should be a bit more excited, and this is the result.
We leave for the trip tomorrow morning. I've literally been packed for 3 days already.
Yeah, maybe I have to add some punctuation there, but yeah, it's not bad. I think the audio is quite similar to my own voice. Now, let me try this using a different model. So I'm going to switch to a model called Chatterbox Turbo, and you'll see that there's something that look a bit different now. I should be able to use this tag. So there is an audio tag called laugh, and then let me just check what are our options. Okay, so laugh, chuckle, coughing, and then yeah, there are many others. There aren't many, but these can be used to add some emotion into the audio. So let me try it again, and I'm going to, I don't know, maybe try something that is happy, maybe laugh. There is no excited option, but at least I can choose laugh. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this is just my recommendation. So when you switch to a different model, I do recommend to unload the previous model. Now, it is totally fine if you have a big GPU, but if you don't, then just unload the model. You don't want to burden your VRAM, so it will provide enough space for the next model to be loaded. Okay, let me just do it again. And it's gonna be laughing. Okay, Chatterbox, send a message, and just wait. Now I'm monitoring my GPU to make sure that I do have enough VRAM to load the model. We are going to still use and try other models later, and I'll show you the models that perhaps you can use, especially if you don't have a.
We leave for the trip tomorrow morning.
Especially if you don't have a powerful GPU. Now, sorry, let me just play it again.
We leave for the trip tomorrow morning. I've literally been packed for 3 days already.
Yeah, I mean, that's slightly more, I would say, excited. It's not significant, but perhaps the limitation is because we don't have many options here, so it's kind of limited. But there is actually a way that we can try to use our own natural language to describe the feeling for that particular voice or that particular audio. And let me try a different model. So let me just unload the previous model first. Okay, where is Chatterbox? Okay, there you go. And okay, so there is a model, I think it is called Tada or maybe Qwen custom voice. Oh yeah, Qwen custom voice, sorry about that. So I'm going to use Qwen custom voice, and one feature that I do really like about Qwen custom voice is you can describe the emotion for that whole transcription or for that whole text to speech action. Now let me just give you one example. It's going to be disgust, okay? And here I can tell AI about how it should be delivered. Disgust expression. Oh, sorry. There you go. So I can describe it using a natural language, and let me just send the message. Okay, engine failed, does not support clone voice profile. Oh, okay, I should not be using that. Yep, that's actually a good point. I cannot use my clone voice in some models, so I have to select this. Maybe I'm going to use perhaps Ryan. Let me try that. There you go, no problem. Okay, so let me give you the sample where I wasn't using the instruction. So this is the basic result, and it doesn't sound good.
I opened the container and I don't even want to describe what was growing in there.
It is not very enthusiastic. How about this one, the one that has the instruction?
I opened the container and I don't even want to describe what was growing in there.
Yeah, I would say that is infinitely better than this one without the instruction. Now, regarding to the model that you can use if you don't have a GPU, then I do recommend to use a model that is small. So usually you can see that from the number of parameters, like Qwen 3TTS 1.7 billion parameters is going to be a lot more demanding than Qwen with 0.6 billion parameters. So if you don't have GPU, you can start with this model. Or maybe if you want to be very conservative, then you can use the Kokoro 82 million parameters. This is very small. It's not going to be the most natural, but it's not that bad. Let me give you an example. In fact, I can actually do it very quickly. So let me try something like joy. Okay, I'm going to select Kokoro. Okay, there's only one voice that I have added, but of course I can add more voices later. Send a message, and it's going to be really quick.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we actually won. This is the best day of my life.
Yeah, the delivery is very flat, but compared to Google Translate or the TikTok voice, this is still way better. And by the way, if you do like the result, you can click this and then you can export the audio and store it somewhere on a folder on your computer, and you can use it on your project, you can use it on a YouTube video. And yeah, it is just much more convenient, it is faster, and you don't have to pay a dime for using the tool. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to see other cool things that you can do with AI, then check out this video and I'll see you there.